News at 9.
A pilot is dead after crash landing atop a Manhattan high-rise building. We're on the terrifying moments and what investigators have learned so far. And a Winsboro man behind bars for allegedly trying to kill his disabled mother and grandfather. What investigators say he did to wind up behind bars. Plus, better water could be coming to Balcomville. We'll tell you what we've learned about upcoming upgrades to the Brownsville water system. Thank you for choosing Fox 14. I'm Sarah Scarlett. First on Fox, the pilot who died when his helicopter crashed into a New York City skyscraper is being identified as Tim McCormick. He'd taken off from a helipad in Midtown, bound for New Jersey, but had to make the emergency landing shortly after. Fox News correspondent Jackie DeAngelis is on the scene with details.
Terrifying moments in Midtown Manhattan, a helicopter forced to make an emergency landing, coming down right on top of one of the area's many skyscrapers.
And I felt the building shake. There was a big shake.
Must have been at most half a second. I feel this rumble, you hear a bam, and then my chair moved a little bit, and I'm wondering what's going on.
The crash started a fire and prompted harried, chaotic evacuations. Area workers, pedestrians, and tourists all huddled together in the rain, thinking the worst.
And all these bad memories came back up when New York was hit so badly and struck by terror, and there was such a huge fear.
Mayor de Blasio quickly assuring people that this was not another terror attack.
There is no indication at this time that this was an act of terror, and there is no ongoing threat to New York City.
The privately owned helicopter had only taken off about 11 minutes earlier, less than 20 blocks away. The pilot was killed. No one on the ground was hurt, despite reports of debris falling to the street below. Amid the crash and the confusion, high praise for New York City's first responders.
They are one of a kind. I've never seen anyone being that calm, focused.
Authorities are investigating the crash and what caused the emergency landing. In Midtown Manhattan, Jackie DeAngelis, Fox News.
New information tonight. The woman killed after a crane toppled onto a Dallas apartment building has been identified. According to a family attorney, the victim is 29-year-old Kirsten Smith. The crane was being used at a construction site next door when it fell Sunday afternoon. Of those hospitalized, at least one patient is in critical condition. Now, the cause of the collapse has not been confirmed, but powerful wind gusts and storms were moving through the area at the time. A Winsboro man is accused of setting fire to his family home with his bedridden mother and disabled grandfather inside. It happened Saturday morning in the 300 block of Carter Street. When first responders arrived, they saw smoke coming from the home. Fire marshal deputies investigating determined the fire was set on purpose. Detectives say Jonathan Armstrong had been arguing with his mother and grandfather. They then asked him to leave, and when he wouldn't, they called 911. Investigators say Armstrong later started a fire in a bedroom. Now, no one was injured. Armstrong's booked into the Franklin Parish Detention Center on 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder and 1 count each of aggravated arson. A funeral for an iconic New Orleans chef was held in St. Peter Claver Church this afternoon. Chef Leah Chase passed away on June 1st, and she was 96 years old. Fellow chefs, friends, and family are among those who attended today's service. She was known as the Queen of Creole cuisine. Chase became one of the first chefs in history to allow people of different races to be served in the same place. Chase owned the famous Dookie Chase restaurant, which quickly became a hot spot for civil rights activists. Chase loved to cook, bringing people together in the process. She was always concerned with human dignity, and her legacy will live on forever. New details tonight. More improvements could be coming to the Balcomville-Brownsville water system. The Ouachita Parish Police Jury wants to apply for another grant that would allow for more repairs. Fox 14's Brian Briggs caught up with the police jury to find out more details regarding the current and possible repairs.
The capacity will not handle what we need anymore.
Those pipes are on the way out thanks to water system upgrades. And the Ouachita Parish Police Jury is wanting to expand repairs in the Brownsville-Balcomville community by applying for a new grant. The grant would be for up to $1.5 million and would build upon 2 pipe replacement projects that are currently going on.
This water system built in the 50s, and it wasn't built out of the PVC we have today that holds up so much longer. Some of it was made out of asbestos cement pipe. And that pipe's safe as long as it's in operation. We just want to get it out so that it doesn't have any more effects in the future.
Pipes are in the process of being replaced in the Violet and Pink Street areas, both of which feed into pipes also being replaced on Smith Street. This project is nearing completion, but the new extension will replace pipes in a different location. The current projects are upgrading utilities for around 500 people, with the new one upgrading around the same amount of residents. Now, if this grant is approved, then piping near the paper mill will be the next to be replaced. And not only will this fix issues with water quality, but it'll also help with maintenance as well.
Well, over 70 years, that pipe has deteriorated, so they have a lot of problems with leaks. Part of the other problem is because it's a small line, they can't flush that line correctly.
In Brownsville-Bochamville, Brian Briggs, Fox 14 News.
If the grant is approved, then engineers will need to be chosen and bids will need to be submitted, which would happen over the next few months. While the Monroe Transit System wants to make taking the bus more available to riders, the Federal Transit Administration has green-lighted a request for new buses. Monroe's transit system is the nation's oldest continually run public bus system in the United States, dating back all the way to 1906. Over the past 5 years, Monroe has added 12 new buses to its fleet. Out of the 4 new buses, 3 will be regular-sized, and the other will be an ADA paratransit, meaning that it will accommodate those with physical disabilities.
So FTA is allowing us to go ahead and purchase the replacement buses this year. The buses will be here next year. And so there will be not a loss of time when we have buses that have eclipsed their useful life when we're still having to use them, which is a good thing. And so we're requesting that.
The total cost for the buses comes to $1.4 million. Of that cost, the city will pay $214,000 out of its general fund. The remaining amount will be covered by the Federal Transportation Administration. New at 9. Meantime, Mayor Jamie Mayo also showing support for the Northeast Louisiana Sickle Cell Anemia Foundation. During today's briefing, he presented the organization a check for $5,000. The money will help the foundation in its efforts to continue to provide free education, counseling, and transportation for low-income patients who suffer from the disease. Richland Parish is welcoming a long-awaited community health center. The groundbreaking meant a renewed hope for the underserved and those without insurance. The facility will offer behavioral health, outpatient, and community health education services on top of the services that the Delhi Clinic already provides. Many patients can expect little to no cost for service thanks to money from federal grants.
We are very fortunate to be able to bring one to Delhi in Richland Parish. But if you want economic development, you must have a hospital and a health center to take care of those that have medical needs.
The $4.5 million health center is expected to open its doors by next summer. Coming up on Fox 14, family fun will soon be in full swing, literally. We'll tell you all about the miniature golf course opening back up right here in West Monroe. And looking to get your kids to eat more salad? Well, Kraft Foods may have the answer. More on what's being called ranch dressing and deception. We'll have all that and more up next on Fox 14 News at 9.
News sponsored by Twin City Outdoor Equipment.
If you're going to make one call, make it count. Call Creed & Creed today.
Our community's response to the food drive for homeless veterans is greatly appreciated.
But there is still time to donate. Here at Max Fresh Market in Monroe and West Monroe, these local churches, and the NBC 10 Fox 14 studios.
Together, we can provide the support our homeless veterans need and deserve.
Get the 6-minute advantage with the live Storm Tracker Doppler radar on Fox 14, keeping you and your family safe. Brought to you by E. Orem Young Law, the bankruptcy specialist.
Where can you find the largest pre-owned inventory in Northeast Louisiana? RyanAutomotive.com. Where can you buy a high-quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV with low upfront, no-hassle pricing? RyanAutomotive.com. Ryan Automotive is your pre-owned headquarters. Hundreds in stock, thousands in savings. Pre-owned vehicles for every lifestyle, every budget. Ruston to Rayville, fast drop to Columbia. Come see why more used car shoppers are buying at Ryan. Ryan Automotive in Monroe. RyanAutomotive.com. Ryan Automotive, your pre-owned headquarters.
So now, Dish has over 80,000 on-demand movies and shows. 80,000. Why? I mean, it would take you years to get through 80,000. Thing is, it's not about 80,000. It's about one. That one movie you saw that one time on a first date with that one girl. That's why.
Dish. Tuned in to you. Hi, I'm Dr. Kevin Finley. We know that there are a lot of people who just do not want to go to the dentist. Well, if that's you, we have a place where you can come and get what you do want. All the dentistry that you need without the fear and anxiety. Our doctors and staff will take away any embarrassment you might have about your mouth. IV Sedation can help you get the dentistry that you want in just a few visits. In a safe, comfortable place, you can take a nap and wake up to a new smile.
I've got 6,000 reasons for you to enter the Twin City Outdoor Yard of the Week contest. And you're looking at it. This year's grand prize package valued at $6,000. Weekly winner announced Friday at 5:30, so enter now at myarclemis.com.
The Animal House is your local pet store. Cypress Street, West Monroe.
News, weather, and sports. Follow us on the KTVE NBC 10 KARD Fox 14 Facebook page. Fox 14 News at 9 continues.
Well, get your golf club swinging. A local businessman has decided to bring this putt-putt course back to life. Fox 14's Maya Hudgens has all the details.
The owner of Willie's Food and Pub has closed down his truck and is now opening up the Backyard Street Food and Pub.
We had the opportunity to come into the building here, bring our concept here, and we've rebranded a little bit.
Bratton is not only excited to get involved in the community, but also be an influence on bringing in more attractions for West Monroe and visitors.
We can walk out the front and see 5 different hotels. So this is going to give people that are staying in those hotels something to do that's right down the road.
The Backyard Street Food and Pub will not only be a putt-putt course. They will offer an arcade room, a restaurant and bar, food trucks, and more.
We're going to always have something going on, from live music, cornhole contests, putt-putt contests. We're also going to have food trucks. Jack's Tailgaters is going to start here around the 29th of this month. They'll be available at lunch and dinner.
The Backyard Street Food and Pub won't be the only leisure activity coming to West Monroe. Drew Brees Surge Entertainment Center is coming in the next year, but Bratton doesn't have a problem with it.
We're really excited for Surge to come in. The more things that are in an area, the more people are going to come here.
With the Ike Expo Center, multiple hotels, and the future Surge Entertainment Center, Main could be the next popular street in town for family fun. From a worn-down putt-putt course to revamping an entertainment center, Bratton is hoping for a hole-in-one. In West Monroe, Maya Hudgens, Fox 14 News.
Bratton says the Backyard Street Food and Pub will open this weekend if everything goes according to plan. Now, Jared, are we looking at putt-putt weather this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's still too early to jump into the weekend weather scenarios, but there is some rain chances back in the forecast. In the meantime, quiet and dry, and that's good news. Full look at the forecast is coming up next.
Also coming up on Fox 14, that light could make you heavy. We'll explain why falling asleep in the dark could be better for your waistline.
Looking for ways to save money? Join our USA program. You'll get a 15% discount on any repairs that we make. You never pay overtime or holiday rates. You always get moved to the front of the list, and we give you a 5-year parts and labor warranty on those repairs. Give us a call today, West Monroe or Ruston. At Air Pros.
I'm Charles Hogan with the Hogan Agency, specializing in insurance, bonding, and safety services, supporting individuals, families, and businesses. Visit us on Ask the Experts on myarclemis.com.
We're about to show you an amazing demonstration. Every one of these Nissans has ProPilot Assist, game-changing tech that helps keep you centered in your lane and adjusts your speed to help keep your distance. It can even help you stop and start without ever touching a pedal. Your highway commute is about to get easier. This is amazing. ProPilot Assist, available in 4 of Nissan's most popular models. For a limited time, save $2,000 or get a low $239 per month lease on the 2019 Altima.
Hey folks, Will Shelby here at Sparks Nissan Kia with another lineup of hot deals. All these for $199 down and $199 a month. Like this 2018 certified pre-owned Nissan Kicks. How about a 2017 Ford Escape? We also have a 2016 Honda CR-V and a 2016 Hyundai Veloster with leather and a roof. All these deals for $199 down and $199 a month. Hot deals start with Sparks Nissan Kia at 2165 in Monroe.
Rain, snow, sleet, or shine. Click on the myarclemis.com weather bug for weather at your fingertips. Meet the weather bug, sponsored by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys.
What does innovative cancer care mean to Summer James? It
It means getting back to life's big dreams, including dress shopping for her wedding, relaxing and appreciating the outdoors, and enjoying the company of her family and friends. All thanks to the healthcare heroes and exceptional care at Willis-Knighton Cancer Center. Always here.
Are you looking for a really nice car? It's CarTown. You want a certified car? CarTown. Are you looking for a big truck? It's CarTown. Do you want a quality warranty? CarTown. You want to be treated like a first-class customer, even if your credit's suffering? It's CarTown. Shop us online at usedcargiants.com. You will get a quick response. You can get approved online. You can set an appointment online. Remember, usedcargiants.com. Come shop with us, the foot of the Louisville Bridge, Monroe, West Monroe. CarTown.
Hey guys, here's another energy-saving tip. Having your entire HVAC system fully cleaned and serviced will help prevent costly repairs to your system throughout the season. Cut out your worries. Call us today and see how we can save you 15%. We're Air Pros at West Monroe and Ruston.
Live Storm Tracker Doppler Radar, sponsored by bankruptcy attorney E. Orem Young. Now, Storm Tracker weather with Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd.
Start off looking at the new live Storm Tracker Doppler Radar brought to you by E. Orem Young. Clear skies around the radar site at this point, paving the way to a clear night tonight and a clear day tomorrow. And paving the way to what should be a very quiet rest of the week. We have some high clouds moving through. Really won't be that much of a bother. They've made for a rather picturesque sunset across the Ark-La-Messe, but otherwise we expect an uneventful rest of the week. As a weak cold front passed through the area late last night, but the air mass associated with this cold front is just now moving into place with the lower dew point temperatures and the generally just drier air and more enjoyable air mass, something that you typically don't see in mid-June across our area. High pressure center that's moving out into the Ozarks right now, providing the northeasterly winds that have filtered that drier air in. But again, the front moved through late last night, early this morning for most locations, although we really haven't felt the full impacts just yet. Starting to see them, though, already across southern portions of Arkansas. Camden's at 68 at this hour. Texarkana at 69. El Dorado at 70. And most locations in North Louisiana in the low to mid-70s. However, the drier air hasn't necessarily made it to the I-49 corridor, so Shreveport, Natchitoches, Alexandria all still hovering near 80. Vicksburg still at 77. You factor in the dew point temperatures, and again, we talked about this earlier. It measures the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. The higher the number, the muggier it is typically. And once you get above 60 and above 65, that's when it really starts getting sticky outside. But you take a look at these dew points, and we even saw upper 40s in portions of South Arkansas earlier today, now into the low to mid-50s, starting to see those upper 50 dew points start sneaking into the I-20 corridor. Everyone will take advantage of this dry air as we move into the overnight tonight and through the day tomorrow. So we'll look for lows to eventually fall into the low into the 60s, passing clouds, and again, the winds out of the northeast continuing to filter that dry air into place. Your mowing forecast, well, the good news is you got 5 good days to get that done this week. The bad news is if you really didn't want to get it done and you were looking for reasons to kind of put it off, you have no reasons to put it off this week. The low humidity values actually make it very pleasant to get out and get done over the next couple of days. Temperatures will start nudging up closer to 90 degrees with the rain chances starting to sneak back in as we work into the weekend. Look at the 7-day forecast, and again, high temperatures staying in the low to mid-80s through the rest of this work week. Morning lows generally in the low to mid-60s, but we could see upper 50s, especially for Wednesday morning. Start to work the cloud cover and the low-level moisture back in as we work toward the weekend, and that means isolated to scattered showers and storms returning to the fray at that point. Highs near 90 degrees. Morning lows in the upper 60s to low 70s. So again, very nice work week headed our way, but the weekend could turn a little dicey, but we'll keep an eye on that. Also, don't forget, now through Thursday, make sure you enter your yard into the Twin City Outdoor Yard of the Week contest. Weekly winners are announced each Friday. One of them will get the grand prize, which includes a new Gravely ZTR mower, a steel combi system, and a Hobie fishing kayak, all worth about $6,000. Enter your yard by going to myarklamist.com and clicking on the contest tab. You only have a couple days left to get your yard in, so do it now.
And, I mean, we have nice weather to get some yard work done for sure.
Yep, sounds like it.
All right, thanks, Jared.
You bet.
Coming up on Fox 14 News at 9, is it just allergies making your eyes water, or could it be something much worse? We'll tell you how to avoid getting pink eye. And bad grades for keeping track of your money. We have more business news coming up.
For 50 years, Cracker Barrel has been cooking home-style favorites to perfection. We thought we'd celebrate by making our golden anniversary extra golden. Introducing new, crispy, juicy Southern Fried Chicken. Now at Cracker Barrel.
Want a relaxing pedicure?
Relaxing pedicure? My feet get so dry and cracked, I need serious relief. That's why I use O'Keeffe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet. Thanks to O'Keeffe's, I got my feet back.
Big disgrace, waving your banner.
Get 0 for 72 and $2,500 in total savings on F-150, plus $750 appreciation cash for military and first responders.
Honey, this Geek Speed internet is ridiculously fast.
We are seriously keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Fords. Keeping up with the Garcias. The Romeros.
Tells. Willans.
Right. No one's gonna have internet like this.
Xfinity makes keeping up with the Joneses simple, easy, awesome. Check out Gig Speed Internet or any of our other amazing speed options. Get started now for as low as $20 a month for 12 months. Plus, see how you can save hundreds when you get internet and mobile together. Click, call, or visit a store today.
Where can you find the largest pre-owned inventory in Northeast Louisiana? RyanAutomotive.com. Where can you buy a high-quality pre-owned car, truck, or SUV with low upfront, no-hassle pricing? RyanAutomotive.com. Ryan Automotive is your pre-owned headquarters. Hundreds in stock, thousands in savings. Pre-owned vehicles for every lifestyle, every budget. Ruston to Rayville, fast drop to Columbia. Come see why more used car shoppers are buying at Ryan. Ryan Automotive in Monroe. RyanAutomotive.com. Ryan Automotive, your pre-owned headquarters.
14 News at 9 continues.
Itchy, irritated eyes are not uncommon for this time of year, but it could be something more than just the pollen in the air. Kim Hutcherson explains in today's Health Minute.
Do you have itchy, irritated, weepy eyes? It may not be just allergies. It could be pink eye, also known as conjunctivitis.
It's an inflammation of the membrane layer that's on the front of the eye.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the 4 main causes of pink eye are viruses, bacteria, allergens such as pet dander or dust mites, and other irritants like smog or swimming pool chlorine. As anyone with kids knows, the condition is highly contagious. You can prevent pink eye from spreading by washing your hands thoroughly. Avoid touching or rubbing your eyes. Never share makeup, contact lenses, or eyeglasses. Most cases of pink eye get better on their own, but if you experience moderate to severe pain in your eye, intense redness, or have a weakened immune system, see a doctor. Infants or newborns with symptoms should see a doctor immediately. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Well, a small change in your sleeping habit may shut down weight loss, but it depends on how you interpret a new study. The study published today suggests a link between weight gain in women and sleeping with lights on. Researchers with the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences looked at women who slept with a television on or a nightlight in the room. They found those women had a 17% chance of gaining 11 pounds over a 5-year period. The same women also supposedly had a 22% chance of becoming overweight and a 33% chance of becoming obese. Scientists admit that the study has its limits and they need more research. Speaking of healthy habits, what kids eat and drink could affect how well they do in school. New research from Tufts University found children who consumed more snack foods and sugary drinks had lower scores on standardized tests than those who ate less of these foods. A separate study from the University of Illinois found that kids who drank more water were better at tasks involving cognitive flexibility. Children also showed improvements in working memory when they increased their water intake to 2.5 liters a day. Now on to a consumer alert. Tyson Foods is recalling nearly 200,000 pounds of chicken fritters. The company says the fully cooked whole grain golden crispy chicken chunk fritters may include hard plastic. The product was produced at one plant in February and shipped to distribution centers in 29 states. Now, it's not sold in stores. It's only available to food service customers like school systems. The USDA says 3 schools complained to Tyson after finding foreign material in food. The recalled chicken is not part of the National School Lunch Program, but was purchased individually by schools. Now, no injuries or illness have been reported. Officials say schools and other facilities with the fritters still in their freezers should throw them out or return them. Over in business news, the Dow is up and gas is down. Fox Business correspondent Colin McShane has these stories and more in tonight's Fox Means Business.
The trend is a driver's friend. The national average for regular unleaded gas falling again over the weekend. Prices now have been dropping steadily over the past month. They're down 30 out of the past 35 days, a gallon now on average at $2.75. Meantime, another setback for Boeing and its 737 MAX jets. American Airlines now pushing back the return of the 737 MAX till early September. Americans canceling about 115 flights a day because of the grounding of that jet. To Wall Street, stocks starting the week with some gains. The Dow up 78 points, now a 6-day winning streak. And it looks like graduates are not making the grade when it comes to money. According to a new survey that's out from Ally Bank, more than half of recent high school and college grads give themselves a C- for personal finance knowledge. Only 1 in 10 give themselves an A. That's business. I'm Connell McShane.
Well, a new poll says that Gen Z is more success-driven than any other generation has been so far. A Barna Group study says for those born after 1996, academic and career success is most important to self-identity. The study shows achieving an education or profession is twice as important to Gen Z than to baby boomers, where family or religion were more central. Gen Z outranked even millennials in mastering education, career, and financial independence before 30. Relationships fell lower in self-identity. And the key to adulthood for Gen Zers, financial independence. Kids are known to avoid vegetables at all costs, and Kraft thinks that it has the solution. It's called salad frosting, but really it's just kid-geared packaging of Kraft's original ranch dressing. It's conveniently disguised in a frosting-style plastic pouch. The company appeals to parents of picky eaters and jokes telling kids white lies can be good for them. Although ranch dressing may not be healthier than frosting, Kraft hopes that it will inspire kids to eat more leafy greens. Still to come on Fox 14, how many times have we complained about robocalls blowing up your phone? Finally, a plan and technology to block them, what you and your carrier would need to do. And sexual assault in the armed forces. Does more reporting mean more attacks, or is it just more victims willing to come forward? Keep it right here on Fox 14.
Stuck in jail? Call South Second Bail. Bad things sometimes happen to good people. If that's you, then you need to call South Second Bail Bonds. We're fast and friendly and serve all surrounding parishes. Stuck in jail? Call South Second Bail.
Houston, where cultures come together.
Where inspiration
takes center stage.
And big dreams come true.
It's where fun happens every day.
Houston's a city on the move.
It's a city that makes you groove.
That's the heartbeat. That's the rhythm of my town. Of my town. My town. My town.
Our town.
H-Town. Houston is a city that inspires. Visit Houston for yourself and find out where the inspiration leads you.
Cavender's has the gifts Dad wants on sale now. Get $30 off high-quality exotic boots from Cavender's by Old Gringo, or save $20 on tried and true Anderson Bean boots. For something really special, get them a pair of Lucchese exotic boots now $50 off. Save $15 on colorful Justin Benrail boots, or save $10 on Twisted X casuals with the comfort that every dad deserves. Save now during the Father's Day sale at Cavender's.
Good day for swimming? Know before you go with meteorologist Reed Leibarger. Weekdays on Fox 14, your morning news. The right news at the right time. Now, your Call Sam forecast first with Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd.
Almanac from today shows an afternoon high of 89 degrees, a morning low of 74. By and large, close to normal for this time of year, but that's with a cold front moving through as we speak. And actually, the front's already passed through with the drier air moving in. We'll look for lows tonight, eventually in the low end of the 60s. Highs tomorrow in the low end of the 80s. That's your forecast first for this half hour. Fox 14 News at 9 continues.
You're watching Fox 14 News at 9 with Sarah Scarlett, Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd, and Sports with Spencer Tillis.
Thank you for choosing Fox 14. I'm Sarah Scarlett. Topping our second half hour on Fox, the FCC has voted to allow phone carriers to start blocking robocalls, and the FCC says phone companies may now block obvious robocalls automatically. Washington correspondent Morgan Wright reports on how the plans might work and how soon the unwanted calls might end.
Are you getting these calls yourself?
Oh, in fact, I just was coming up the elevator today talking to a coworker, and I felt the phone ring. I pulled it up. It was a 760 area code, I believe, something like Santa Rosa, California, and I thought, well, here we go, starting off the day with a robocall.
Just like you, Ajit Pai is frustrated by the estimated 150 million robocalls placed each month. The difference is, as the chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, it's Pai's job to fix the problem.
Is this somebody who's going to tell me that I've won a vacation from some hotel chain, or is it a loved one? That's a kind of debate so many consumers are having. They're sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Chairman Pai says that's why the agency is committed to cracking down on the calls, voting last week to allow phone carriers to block robocalls.
We anticipate that a great many phone companies will start using these phone blocking call blocking services by default.
But some are concerned about who will decide which calls get blocked. The CEO of YouMail, a robocall blocking app, told me, "I think they have a huge problem in deciding what's wanted versus unwanted when every consumer is different."
They don't care exactly who is stopping the robocalls. They want them to be stopped.
The other concern, how much it will cost consumers.
Right now, the vast majority of these call blocking services are offered for free, and we anticipate that because blocking these robocalls would save companies money, they would be able to pass those savings on to consumers.
In Washington, Morgan Wright.
Well, depending on how you read the numbers, the Me Too movement either has made a huge difference in our armed forces or no difference at all. More than 20,000 reports of sexual assault last year. That's up more than a third 2 years before. The National Commission on Military, National, and Public Service says that training and prevention programs aren't doing enough to hold offenders and their superiors accountable.
Sensitivities involved, and having two people who both work for the same supervisors or same leaders involved in that way makes it much more difficult to get to the truth.
Because I believe that there are many victims that basically suffer in silence.
Adding Military Sexual Assault Act would put more resources for victims and change how the military tracks sexual assault cases and shares information. Lawmakers and military leaders say they focused on ending sexual assault and harassment and protecting those who serve. In news across the nation, a Missouri abortion clinic can continue to practice. A judge granted a preliminary injunction today in favor of the state's last abortion clinic. The judge's ruling allowing the lone clinic, Reproductive Health Services of Planned Parenthood of the St. Louis region, to keep performing abortions while a legal battle unfolds between the clinic and state health officials. The court ruled the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services shall issue a decision on Planned Parenthood's application for renewal of its license no later than June 21st. A status review will also be held on that date. Last month, the clinic sued Governor Michael Parson and the Missouri DHSS over the state's refusal to renew its license. In world news, the United Nations Special Envoy and American celebrity Angelina Jolie visited refugee camps on the Venezuela-Colombia border last week. She's urging the international community to give more support to the South American countries that are taking in a large number of Venezuelans. People are flooding across the borders, running from Venezuela's unprecedented economic, political, and humanitarian crisis. Colombia has taken in the most, with 1.3 million immigrants. In entertainment news, if singer Justin Bieber and actor Tom Cruise got into a fist fight, who would win? Well, you may be able to find out. Justin Bieber taking to Twitter Sunday to challenge the Top Gun himself to a fight. Bieber's random tweet taking many social media users and fans off guard. The post now going viral, with professional fighter Conor McGregor offering to promote the showdown. Tom Cruise hasn't responded to any of the smack, but Bieber's tweet says that Cruise won't live this down if he doesn't accept the challenge. Last night, Broadway actors and crew left the Great White Way and headed for Radio City Music Hall to attend the 73rd Annual Tony Awards. The show capping off a successful year for the industry, with an annual box office numbers setting a new record and overall attendance up. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin is in New York with who took home the coveted statues.
Broadway follows up its record-breaking year with a night of honors and lots of razzle-dazzle at the 73rd Tony Awards.
Hadestown!
Hell hath no fury like Hadestown, the newcomer leading the night with a total of 8 Tony wins, including the coveted Best New Musical, the modern retelling of a Greek tragedy, also earning Best Director for Rachel Chavkin, the only woman to helm a new Broadway musical this season.
There are so many women who are ready to go. There are so many artists of color who are ready to go.
Among other big winners, Oklahoma's Ali Stroker for Best Featured Actress in a Musical. And making history is the first person in a wheelchair to win a Tony.
This award is for every kid who is watching tonight who has a disability, who has a limitation or a challenge, who has been waiting to see themselves represented in this arena.
Individual honors also going to Bryan Cranston for Network.
Finally, a straight old white man gets a break.
And legendary 87-year-old Elaine May winning her very first Tony for the Waverly Gallery. The Ferryman is this year's Best Play, The Boys in the Band earning Best Play Revival, and Oklahoma roping in Best Revival of a Musical. Cast members from each Best Musical nominees taking the stage throughout the night, performing medleys and highlights. And host James Corden setting things up with his own song and dance number, celebrating the excitement of live theater. The Tonys handing out career-changing trophies while highlighting the diversity of shows on Broadway right now, one of the big reasons for the big boost in ticket sales. In New York, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
A big honor for a legendary rapper, Notorious B.I.G., a.k.a. Biggie Smalls. Today, the corner of St. James Place and Fulton Street in Brooklyn was renamed to Christopher Notorious B.I.G. Wallace Way. It just so happens the street renaming is on the same block where Biggie, whose real name was Christopher Wallace, grew up. Among those taking part in the event were Biggie's family members, as well as female rap artist Lil' Kim.
I remember 22 years ago, I came around that corner. It was a sad day. And when I saw the crowds, tears came to my eyes. And I said to my friend, my son was well loved.
Wallace was just 24 years old when he was shot to death in Los Angeles in 1997. You know, Jared, that's a big honor, but that's a lot of words to fit on one sign. I guess they used rap text.
Oh, I'm sure that they'll figure that. I like your pun there. But a fitting way to remember Biggie, of course. And it's hard to believe it was 1997 when it happened. It was a long time ago. Full look at the forecast coming up next.
And now, Fox 14, your morning news with Randy Ayala.
Good morning, I'm Randy Ayala.
Hey, didn't you forget somebody?
Oh, right, and the new guy, Bode Brooks.
Sorry, it's Bodie Brooks.
Looks like Bode Brooks to me.
Well, this certainly doesn't bode well for the morning news, does it, Bodie?
Really, Randy? Come on.
Fox 14, your morning news with Randy Ayala and Bode Brooks.
Never gets old.
The right news at the right time.
Now, this is a big truck, but not compared to this monster. When it comes to car truck wrecks, big or small, I handle them all. I'm Attorney Gordon McKernan. Call me and get it done.
Call 3 million or go to getgordon.com.
No. 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 Maybe. Yes. Yes.
Low rates, no commissioned agents, lowest down payment, and we won't sell you expensive add-ons.
Go Auto is my perfect match. Greg can really save me money.
Greg really is the Go Auto guy.
Give us a call and speak to one of our non-commissioned agents. Visit our website or stop by one of our convenience stores and start saving today.
You gotta get on down to Don Killen's Country Village Manufactured Homes. We got double wides, singles too. We got a price that's right for you. You gotta get on down to Don Killen's. You gotta pass the rest to get to the best. Manufactured homes, locally owned. Don Killen's Country Village Manufactured Homes.
5 miles south on 165.
When I bring my vehicle here to have it serviced, I don't
ever have any qualms about it because I know that they're going to do the very best they can. An hour away is not a problem when you're going to bring your vehicle or when you're wanting to buy a vehicle from people that you know you can trust. Something that Cloyd told me, he said his mama told him. He says, you treat every customer like they're your mama. My experience with White Ford is just awesome. The place is wonderful. It's like family.
I'm behind on payments, and I'm afraid they're going to garnish my paycheck. What do I do?
Stay calm and call Sam. Let's stop the garnishments before they start, because bankruptcy isn't what we do. It's all we do. Call Sam.
Live Storm Tracker Doppler radar, sponsored by bankruptcy attorney E. Orem Young. Now, Storm Tracker weather with Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd.
Another look at the new live Storm Tracker Doppler radar brought to you by E. Orem Young. Clear skies around the radar site at this hour, paving the way to what should be a very clear and quiet and low humidity rest of the week. We have some passing clouds from time to time. Cold front moved through the area late last night, early this morning. Did bring some broken lines of showers basically moving through the southeast, and it really didn't impact our area as we worked through the course of the afternoon. Again, some high clouds traipsing through at this point, but a lot of mid-level dry air that will continue to kind of translate down to the surface as we work through the day tomorrow. Old frontal boundary well off along the southeastern coastline and moving up through the mid-Atlantic coast. High pressure center basically sitting over the Ozarks will continue to slide southward, filtering in the northeasterly winds, which will continue to allow for drier, cooler air to win over as we work through tomorrow and through the next couple of days. Again, it's really a tale of two different air masses that are working their way through. The cooler, drier air to the north, the warmer, more humid air to the south. But as far as actual air temperatures, it's really not a huge range. We're talking about maybe 8 to 12 degrees from north to south. 66 in Camden, 78 in Alexandria. It's still 78 in Shreveport, too. Of course, keep in mind the driest air starting off in southeastern Arkansas and will filter in thanks to the northeasterly winds. So the folks to the southwest will probably be the last ones to feel the full effects of this cold front. Low to mid-50s dew point temperatures across southern Arkansas. Upper 50s to right at 60 degrees along the I-20 corridor, and then mid to upper 60s as you move farther southward. But that dry air will make its way to those parts as we head through the overnight. Lows will drop into the low 60s, passing clouds, turning cooler otherwise with winds out of the northeast. High temperatures tomorrow in the low into the 80s. Clouds decreasing as we head through the day. Really won't start the day with much in the way of cloud cover anyway, but those will clear out as we work through the afternoon. Very pleasant, low humidity, and again, winds continue out of the northeast. A look at the rest of the forecast as we head through the next 7 days. Mid to upper 80s as we wrap up the work week and head toward the weekend. Morning lows generally in the upper 50s to low 60s. The rain chances are back in as we go into the weekend, especially Saturday, Sunday, into Monday, with high temperatures climbing back to near 90 at that point. Morning lows will stay in the upper 60s to low 70s. But again, overall, this is probably one of the nicest weeks that you will see all summer long. Of course, it's not the official start of summer, but we're close enough. And again, low humidity values making things very, very comfortable. Maybe able to turn the air conditioner off for a night or two along the way as well. Local waterways faring nicely. Again, the Mississippi River seeing some rises thanks to the Arkansas River water that's draining in, but the Ouachita River continuing some slow, uninterrupted falls and likely to fall out of flood stage for the first time in a while by the middle part of this month.
That's very good news, right?
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Jared.
You bet.
We come back. Arkansas looks to punch their ticket to Omaha in Game 3 of their Super Regional with Ole Miss. Plus, LSU tries to figure out where it all went wrong last night against Florida State. Stick around. Sports is up next. You're watching Fox 14 News at 9.
I'm behind on payments, and I'm afraid they're going to garnish my paycheck. What do I do?
Stay calm and call Sam. Let's stop the garnishments before they start, because bankruptcy isn't what we do. It's all we do. Call Sam.
Look, your dad gave me his baby to go pick up your brother from the airport.
Oh, honey, just take Mom's car. She just had navigation installed.
I totally got this. We were just there.
Hey, isn't that?
Yep. I'll program the airport in, just in case.
You don't need a new car to have new car technology. Suncoast Sound, Briard Street, Monroe.
Captain D's new Fire grilled seafood. It's premium whole fish fillets and shrimp without the premium price. It's bold flavors like lemon pepper, blackened, and signature seasoning. Fire means flavor when the captain is covered. Captain D's.
News sponsored by Willis Knighton, home of the healthcare heroes.
We're about to show you an amazing demonstration. Every one of these Nissans has ProPilot Assist, game-changing tech that helps keep you centered in your lane and adjusts your speed to help keep your distance. It can even help you stop and start without ever touching a pedal. Your highway commute is about to get easier.
This is amazing.
ProPilot Assist, available in 4 of Nissan's most popular models. For a limited time, save $2,000 or get a low $239 per month lease on the 2019 Altima.
Have damage from recent storms? Energy Savers of America can get the job done, help filing claims, and guide you through the insurance process. We have the knowledge to help you with all your roofing needs.
Hi, I'm Jason Smith, owner of Energy Savers of America. Give us a call today and come home to quality.
Russell. Russell. Russell.
Is the open road calling your name? Some guys were born truck drivers. Be trained and certified in just 16 days. Classes are available to get you on the path to your new career. CDL training, third-party testing, safety training, job placement, and financing available. See the world and get paid for doing it. Don't let life pass you by. Call Coastal right now. Exit 101 in Calhoun.
Did you see the story of how some Louisiana Tech students gave back to their community following the deadly tornado in Ruston? See it now on myarclimus.com and the KTVE NBC10 KARD Fox 14 mobile app. Just click on the Did You See section under the News tab now. Did You See? Brought to you by Highcumble Eye Center. Follow us on the KTVE NBC10 KARD Fox 14 Facebook page.
I'm going to take my car. What do I do?
Before the repo man pays you a visit, call Sam. Sam can help you protect your assets and get back items already taken. Bankruptcy isn't what we do, it's all we do. Call Sam.
We're really excited about the new software and computer model upgrade from Barron Services. Lightning and hail size, things that during severe weather become very critical. These are things now that we can show you 2 and 3 days in advance. This computer model combined with our Doppler radar, it's a commitment to our community's safety. It's a commitment that you can see both on air and online all day, every day.
Fox 14 Chief Meteorologist Jared Floyd, keeping your family safe. And now, sports with Spencer Tillis.
A trip to Omaha was on the line this afternoon as Arkansas was squaring off against Ole Miss in a winner-takes-all Game 3 Super Regional. And the Hogs came to play in this one. The Rebels would strike first in the top of the first, but the Hogs would have the answer bottom of the first. 2 on for Casey Opitz, and he sends that one to right center for an RBI single to tie things up. Very next batter, and Jacob Nesbitt, he sneaks this one inside of the third baseline. Gets on his horse and hustles all the way into second for a double. Arkansas pulling out in front with the RBI hit. Shortly after that, the Hogs really started to cook. It's Trevor Azell at the dish this time. He sends that one to right. 2 more runs would score as they capped off a 4-run second inning. And the bats just remained really hot the rest of the way. Opitz back on the dish this time. He's going to get another RBI base hit to right, and then shortly after that, it's Heston Kjerstad getting all of that one, showing off the bat with the solo shot to right. An absolute nuke of a blast right there. The bat stayed hot the rest of the way, and the pitching was just as good as Arkansas rolls in that one. And they are on to Omaha for the 2nd straight year. They take it 14-1 your final.
Because there was guys that were starting, that were playing summer ball because they couldn't make the travel squad. They're starting every day. You had guys that were in the lineup, guys that didn't get the pitch, and all you did is keep working and working. And you know what? We're going to Omaha.
That's right, Coach. You absolutely are. Meanwhile, one team that will not be making the trip this year is LSU after the Tigers were upset in Game 2 of their Super Regional to Florida State. And the Tigers really battled back after trailing early on in this thing. They were down by 3 runs, but eventually would tie it up and force extras. But the Seminoles were the team that ended up making the winning plays down the stretch. Our very own Brian Holland was down in Baton Rouge following the Tigers every pitch of the way and has more.
Now, it's time for your Go Nation Report, sponsored by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys.
Well, the faces say it all. Unfortunately, the LSU Tigers falling 2 wins shy
of Omaha and a College World Series run running into what seemed like a team of destiny, the Florida State Seminoles, and of course their head coach. One final run there in the Garnet and Gold there for Mike Martin after 40 years of coaching. LSU fans going to remember the bullpen in this one. It was absolutely fantastic. Devin Fontenot coming in, only allowing 2 hits over 6 2/3 innings. Unfortunately, that last one ending in the game winner. But even he was outdone by Antoine Duplantis, the senior, coming back for one final run at Omaha. 4 hits in this game, and unfortunately, that's where it's going to end. A career in the books in the purple and gold.
You know, it doesn't hit you right away, for me at least, because, you know, you're competing and you're not even thinking about losing when you're playing. So, you know, it took me until I saw, you know, everybody in the dugout and, you know, all of our guys, and it's hard for it to set in. I feel like it still hasn't set in that it's over, you know, that I've been here for 4 years and just feels like this is a part of my life now. And, you know, for it to be coming to an end is tough.
I can't even put into words what Antoine Duplantis means to me. Words would be so inadequate. I'm just going to miss him terribly. Just my life is enriched having had the opportunity to coach him.
Here at Alec Box Stadium for your Go Nation coverage, I'm Brian Holland.
That was your Go Nation report.
Thank you, Brian. That is going to be it for sports. We'll have one last look at your forecast coming up next.
I'm behind on payments, and I'm afraid they're going to garnish my paycheck. What do I do?
Stay calm and call Sam. Let's stop the garnishments before they start, because bankruptcy isn't what we do. It's all we do. Call Sam.
It all felt like a dream. The years felt like a breeze as they passed us by.
The 2019 Toyota Highlander, the best seats in the house.
Right now, get $2,500 customer cash, or qualified buyers get 0% APR financing for 60 months on a sophisticated new 2019 Highlander. Toyota, let's go places.
A big disgrace, waving your banner. We will.
Get 0 for 72 and $2,500 in total savings on F-150, plus $750 appreciation cash for military and first responders.
I'm Mike Mayfield with Fast Serve Medical. We're your local experts for mobility and accessibility for the Arkless. Please join us on Ask the Experts on myarkless.com.
It's a difference you can see and taste. Everyday tap water versus water filtered through the new Chief Water Purification System. Installed at your home or business, this system removes chlorine, chemicals, bad taste, and odors from your municipal water source. No more ring buildup around bathtubs. This system will extend the life of your washing machine, dishwasher, and hot water heater. No replacement filters, just a water hose to backflush the filter to keep it clean. It's a clear choice. Call your local distributor at Ken's Coffee Service today.
We've got the bases covered this season with all the local Little League action. Catch it on League Lights, Tuesday on Fox 14, Your Morning News, and Fox 14 News at 9. League Lights, brought to you by Spartan Adventure Park.
I'm going to take my car. What do I do?
Before the Repo Man pays you a visit, call Sam. Sam can help you protect your assets and get back items already taken. Bankruptcy isn't what we do. It's all we do. Call Sam.
Fox 14 News at 9 continues.
Quick look at the 7-day forecast shows afternoon highs back in the low to mid 80s as we work through the day tomorrow. Sunny to mostly sunny skies expected to hang around. And we'll look for the low humidity values to make for some very enjoyable days. Morning lows upper 50s to low 60s through much of the rest of the week. Isolated to scattered showers and storms back in for the weekend with highs near 90 degrees and morning lows in the upper 60s to low 70s.
Well, a tourist went viral after a seagull swooped down, stealing her sandwich and photobombing her all at once. Now, that's one busy bird. Jeremy Roth has today's. Take a look at this.
If there's one thing Finding Nemo taught us, it's that seagulls are greedy jerks.
Mine. One California woman learned that the hard way on a trip to the New England coast. All Alicia Jessup wanted was to take a photo of herself eating a lobster roll in Maine. Instead, she captured the exact moment a hungry seagull swooped down and snatched the sandwich right out of her hand. The 1 in a million shot, of course, went viral as soon as Jessup started sharing her tale on social media. No word on what became of the flying, food-filching photo bomber. But as for Jessup, worry not. She later posted an update confirming she got herself a replacement roll. Some cops in Illinois had to pull over to get a slithering suspect out of a sticky situation. The Forest Park police chief was riding along with an officer when they spotted a snake in the road. They pulled over to deal with it, but the snake fled right into the patrol car's engine. After about a half an hour, the chief was able to safely remove the snake and relocate it to a wooded area. And finally, breathtaking images from astronauts in space are a dime a dozen, and this one is no exception. It's gorgeous. But the most interesting thing about this shot is this dot. That is the planet Venus, captured at sunrise from astronaut Christina Koch on the ISS. It must be something to wake up to an otherworldly view of a whole other world. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Hot Wings made me do it. That's what police in Manitoba, Canada say a 16-year-old driver told them when they clocked him going 105 miles per hour in a Chevy Camaro. Police tweeted about the arrest and quoted the teen saying he ate too many hot wings and needed a bathroom ASAP. Royal Canadian Mounted Police Manitoba said that's still no excuse. The teen was fined for speeding and driving without a supervising driver. According to police, he'll also likely have his license suspended. Do you think that's a good excuse?
No comment.
No comment?
No comment.
I mean, I don't know. If I were the cop, I'd probably be like, you know
If you're
what?
speeding and you're 15, no, it's not a good enough. It's not a good excuse for nobody.
Yeah.
For anybody. Excuse me. Proper grammar. But
I mean, I guess I see that. I guess.
yeah, that's
I mean,
bogus.
105 miles per hour. That's pretty fast.
No, 105 in a Camaro, you're just a doofus.
Okay.
And you ate hot wings beforehand. Bigger doofus.
You like hot wings, right?
Yep, but I wouldn't speed while I was eating them.
All right, that's going to be it for us. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great night.